socials, plus 899 FM, and on 3 Music TV, of course, as well, right here in our visual radio studio, if you're watching us also on TV. And one more time, let me say shouts to the people who make us number one. I keep saying this because without you, we wouldn't be here. Now, talking about being here, we are live in GH Abelempe, to be precise. But our man Olele is all the way up in South Africa. Let's catch up with him real quickly on a live quick interview via Zoom. To give us updates on what's happening on that side of town. Interesting, right? Okay, so let's get our man on there. I don't know, guys, if you want to also join in this convo, but he has a lot to tell us. He was with us a couple of days ago, and next, boom, vanish, and now he's vanish is in French is vanish. Olele.
What's up, people? Good morning. Good morning. Yes, sir.
Mandela.
Hi,
Morning.
Mandela. Madiba, if I can say that. Olele, you are in South Africa now, aren't you? Just to be correct, because you told us you're going to SA, but you could be in another country, So I just want to check you and be very sure that he's in SA. Same location.
Yes, indeed, I am in South Africa, Johannesburg to be precise. Currently at the.
Okay, so I think your sound gets. Olele, if you can hear me, your sound kind of goes off when you. I think you move away from your camera. So if you can speak directly into your camera for us, so we can hear you loud and clear. Because we know in SA they have good internet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. So tell us.
Yes, like I was saying earlier, we are still in South Africa.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, go on. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we are still here. We are still here in SA. We are still here in SA. Johannesburg to be precise. We currently in Sandton. Sandton is like a what do you call it? How do I explain it? It's like a proper plush community or town, in the Gauteng province, and we are here kind courtesy the Sea Africa conference, Sea Africa 2023 conference, which is supposed to be the showbiz and entertainment conference, bringing media giants, or should I say media practitioners in the entertainment and showbiz conversation together to pretty much understand what is next for Africa, where we are headed to, what we can do to make sure the world comes to us, how to take charge of our content. Our very own Nana Kofi Sini was one of the speakers for this conference. He spoke on our content is king, basically to talk about the fact that in the advent, or shall I say, with the introduction of movies that the Hollywood industry are looking to shoot about Africa, Africa has an opportunity, or they're in pole position to take the world by storm, and we don't need to go back, or we don't need to look for some kind of validation from Africa. And AJ Sapon, who was also an MC, our very own AJ Sapon, also hosted some of the sessions that were had. She was just the MC, so she didn't really have much of a conversation or presentation to do. And we had the opportunity to meet the creators of South African Fashion Week. We met with one of the giants in the animation industry, who's doing fantastic with her works, getting her works on Amazon, Netflix, and so on and so forth, teaching us what really has gone down the last 25 years for the animation journey in South Africa. Our very own Francis Y. Brown's name came up here, and in SA, for those of you who don't know Francis Y. Brown, he's the founder and creator of Animax in Ghana, when it comes to the animation conversation. So pretty much it's been an eye-opening experience so far. We touched down on Friday morning. We left Thursday night, we touched on Friday morning. As soon as we got here, we went straight to this conference. Now we have come to the Meetings Africa conference, which is another conference designed for media practitioners and media professionals, whether you're a journalist, you're a presenter, you're a host, whatsoever, the whole of Africa at the Meetings Africa conference, which is also held in Sandton City, in the Gauteng province. I'm still trying to, get the names right, Gauteng province. So everything that we're experiencing right now was powered by South African tourism. And it's interesting what they are using the tourism to do. They are not just looking to have people come here and experience, the things that they have here, but they are looking to make sure that whoever comes here leaves with a message. Whoever comes here leaves with an empowerment. Whoever comes here leaves the fact that as an African, you are encouraged to do more because you have enough to get the world's attention. And they've made us feel at home. I've had the best of my life. I'm not going to lie. They've had some good food, and boy, we've seen some good women. We've seen some women. We've seen some beautiful women. We've been to some beautiful places. We've been to Maropen, and Maropen is one of the places that actually spiked my interest in what these guys are doing. So Maropen is like in layman terms is a man-made cave designed to mimic the true happenings of the evolution of man. Okay, by scientists. All right, so we went into the cave to understand how dinosaurs evolved, they became extinct. We went to see how the whole idea of man evolving from apes, that whole concept being debunked, because definitely the lineage and the genealogy of apes or monkeys have a separate, instance, and then the evolution of man, which is still a discovery that South Africa has made and has made the point to make sure they find out. According to the tour guide, he says that it will take 1,000 years to bridge the gap, but
well, oops, I think we lost.
establishes the fact that man indeed did not evolve from apes. So it's been a good run so far. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. I mean, you've definitely
Hello.
give us insights into this.
Yes.
Virtually answered the questions I was going to ask you with regards to the purpose of this, conference, what the organizers seek to achieve from this. You've also shared the networking that has gone on with the kind of people and the personalities that are all available there. It's good to know that Ghana is playing a key role in there, especially AJ and Essien as well also speaking there. It's yourself being being well represented there. When are you due back, and what is the itinerary like? Today, tomorrow, and when is the conference ending?
So the conference is a 2-day conference, but unfortunately for us, we would have to come back to Ghana after day 1 because according to our handlers, they couldn't get us a flight after the conference. It was only safer or the safest option was to get us to come after day 1. The Meetings Africa after the main exhibition would have a dinner and cocktail networking event, which we won't be a part of. But the Ghana team here have taken the opportunity to establish contacts in terms of production. We met our brother Clegmatic 2 days ago, and another Ghanaian brother, Philip, who's doing fantastic, who's doing crazy things here in production, logistics, and IT.
Yeah,
we had the opportunity to speak to them about certain opportunities that are available in SA and how we can also bridge the gap, because we realize also that really Afrobeats does not really have a stay here. With all the events we went to, and it has made most of the music we've heard is just Afro house. I'm a piano, and what I also noticed here that in South Africa the DJs are the superstars. The DJs in South Africa are the superstars, because we went to an event and there was no artist on stage. It was just a DJ audience, just a bunch of DJs who were just rotating after their time was up, and it was the same rhythm, same melody, same music, different types of melodies, and piano, Afro house, just naming, and people were jamming, people were dancing. Back in Ghana, we would wait till like 6 or we wait till like 9 p.m. to go out to have fun. But these guys party as early as 3 p.m. You go to an event at 3 p.m. and the place is full and people are jamming. We went for this event powered by the Houghton Tourism, and we stood there, we watched, and we saw people having fun. They're excited, they were jamming to the songs over and over and over again for 5 hours non-stop. And that for me was mind-blowing. I was hoping that we'd hear like an Afrobeat record or something, but that unfortunately didn't happen so far. Maybe before we come back, we'll hear some
Yeah. Olele, today our conversation is on the role of the media and an opportunity for us to pause reflections and and change. Now, for you being out there, this has been something that the South African tourism community has pieced together, and it speaks about it has a certain connection with what we are talking about this morning. For you, what do you make of such what's the word? St. Peter's, please. I want a word. Such an not not an even innovation.
No, show us.
Yes, such a well, an idea of such an event like this. Purpose. It's where its purpose is aligned towards empowering media personalities, networking. What do you make of such a thing, and you being a part of it?
I think I would want to really applaud the tourism sector, or shall I say the Gauteng Tourism Authority, because what I see is intentionality to control the narrative. Like I said, even with hospitality, right from the airport to checking into our hotels to where we had the opportunity to experience some of these events I was speaking about earlier, everything is intentional. Every single thing is intentional. And we had the opportunity to meet the marketing director of the tourism sector, who was directly involved in all our activities. And you speak to him and you could tell that this is someone who understands the creative arts put in a place like that to market Gauteng. So he's not just a marketing guy. He's equally a creative, and he understands the potential that comes with events or tourism activities like this. Just like back in Ghana, where our creative economy is contributing to, or is a third contributing factor to the GDP after gold and oil. Here in South Africa, is the same thing, and they have identified. They've noticed that this is raking in more money, is raking more revenue, and they have made it possible, or they've allowed certain things to be structured well enough so that they can have a product to talk about when you come to town. So it's not just about coming to town and maybe enjoying the good food or enjoying the good music. No, you need to understand why they are doing what they are doing. You get it. That way, when you go back to your country, you would, even if they have their own problems, I best believe they're not going to remember that easily. You're going to come back to your country, and then you're going to start asking your country questions. That what are we doing?
Let me say something for you as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes. With the experience that you've had there so far, how do you think that can be applied? I know you've mentioned how you get to question things when you get back, but how do you think that Ghana can also take from some of these things and then also actively make sure that it's working for the betterment of everybody, especially stakeholders and everybody else involved?
In simple words, think about the country first. Think about the positioning of the country first. Get the right people, not people who just want to occupy a political office or a political or acquire political power. They should be equally as passionate as the creators who contribute to the economy, because if you are passionate about the economy, you don't even have to think about the profits. You don't have to think about the revenue that comes. The works will do the talking on behalf of the country, and it's not short-lived, because these guys have every year there's a year-long plan that is active every quarter.
Right.
You get it, which we have been asked to come and be a part of it to see what's going on. When we spoke to the marketing director, he actually mentioned the fact that there are plans to work together with the Ghana Tourism Authority to advance or progress some of these experiences. So he also thinks back home in Ghana there's something we are doing right that they want to tap in.
Right.
But we also saw the opportunity that when you do come to Ghana, we would also want to learn what you guys are doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's like I said, in all totality, it's the intentionality for me. The fact that they don't have to wait to a particular period to get things done. Every quarter there is something happening. Unlike Ghana, where we have to wait till December before we do the December in Ghana, the
Yeah.
euphoria and everything. Now, every quarter here in South Africa, the Houghton Tourism Authority is looking to give people experiences from different countries. And that's what I have taken out from today. And also, another thing I realized is the fact that their taxes are working. You are paying taxes, but you are seeing results. Because look, I'm not going to sit here and try and do PR for them, but the stuff here are very expensive. Do you get what I'm saying? The stuff here are very, very expensive.
So is their
the
crime.
food we
It's also
eat and
expensive.
everything. Exactly, it is very expensive, but you see development wherever you go. You see development wherever you go, from the roads to the infrastructure to just name it. I mean, and I am being told that I'm just in Joburg. When I get opportunity, I should go to Cape Town and see what's going on. I'm like, whoa, okay. There we go. So I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, we wish we could keep you on here for long, but our guest in here is also waiting. You know the tradition now, eh? Oh boy, please, come out, eh?
I just
if they come,
let me just say a big thank you. Let me just say a big thank you to the team back home, especially to my CEO, Rashida Abdullahi, CEO of 3 Media Networks, and of course, 3 Music TV, for giving me the opportunity to come experience this, and of course bring back the expertise home to help advance or progress the conversations we have on culture daily, and also to the Houghton province or the Houghton tourism sector authority. We received us, myself, Manako Fisini, AJ Sapon, and giving us the bestest of hospitality that we can imagine. I want to say a big thank you to them. When I come back, I'll tell you guys my experience with South African police today. Take care of yourself.
All right.
Bye-bye.
We're looking forward to that. Thank you very much, and have a safe flight back to town. And that's Olele Salvador, our very own Olele Salvador, who's currently in South Africa, as he shared, for a 2-day conference. Back in town soon, and we can get some more updates on there. Now that we've done the official bits, when he comes, we will go there in top end. This guy died.
It shall be dealt with. It shall be dealt with.
We go do it because this one there. Anyways, so as we rightly said this morning, our conversation is on the role of the media, an opportunity for reflections and change. And of course, I have an in-house here with me, Ato Kilson. Ato, how are you doing? I nearly tagged you over the weekend on a certain post, but I couldn't find your Twitter handle in time.
I also saw a post.
Hold on, let me get your microphones up. Yeah, good.
Yeah. I also saw a post. I wanted to tag you as
You
well.
didn't find me.
I'll look for it and send it to you.
Our battle still goes on, but it was good. It was a very healthy conversation we had the other time. And yeah, I mean, Africa must win. And I like the angle we are going to go into this morning, because it's now looking at the role of the media. And over the years, I mean, from time immemorial, we always say the media has been the informative tool, the bridge between the people and the rulers, if I can say that. It is our responsibility to inform, to educate, to entertain. We have a very big role to play. Our KPIs are very high, if you ask me. Yes, we've had flaws at certain stages, certain times. We've identified how powerful the media is. But what's most important is, have we taken the right steps, even in identifying opportunities that's available to us, and power that is available to us, and how we've used that power to impact change. We'll look at certain scenarios like what is happening in Nigeria, for example. Look at how the media is playing a key role in what is happening there. We'll look at Olele has just given us insights into what SA Tourism is using the media for as well, and how we in Ghana have also used the media with regards to tourism, which currently is one of the, like we say, the third highest contributor, right?
Yeah.
To GDP. Is it so? Did I say it right, Lee St. Peters?
Yeah,
Is it right?
GDP,
Yeah.
gross
Yeah.
domestic
Why
product.
are you calling to St. Peter's?
Oh, you don't know? No, you know when I have a word I can't express, I have to go to St. Peters. That one I give it to him. You know, so it's right.
Today you are trying, your Christian side is showing.
You know, and I want to look at all this in entirety. But let's tackle this from how your general opinion so far in your years of active media engagement, your general opinion on our, not necessarily the state though, but the opportunities that have come to us and how we have harnessed some of these opportunities to our benefit and to the benefit of growth of, you know, economy, the country, individual self, you name it.
Personally, I think when you look at Ghana in general, most of our problems are as a result of like a knowledge gap. And I think, you know how when you have something very powerful and you don't know how powerful it is, you are not able to use it properly. So most of the time when we downplay certain things, like how the media can placate a certain side of the economy or a certain side of the country, it comes as a result of the media not knowing how powerful they actually are.
Go back to that first point you made about the knowledge gap. Can you expand that? Because it's very interesting you said that.
Yeah, so with the knowledge gap, it's just knowing how to use the media well. So for instance, when you look at PR like this, PR is a concept that has a multifaceted face. When you look at the general connotation of what PR does, you are using it to investigate developments. You are using it to anticipate consequences. You are using it to assist and advise. You are using it to execute a strategic system of action. And so if you don't know all these things, there could be someone who is using PR to just do one thing, and maybe that's just to investigate development. But what about the other three things you are supposed to use it for? So when we have actors in the industry who actually know from front to back how powerful these concepts and methods can be used, I think it will be easy for us to sail through. Even Olile and I have been having conversations about this, and when you look at the artists, for instance, the music artists we have in the country, most of them don't know how powerful they are and how they can complement their efforts with the media as well. How they can use PR to get placements in the media, how they can use the media to amplify the work they are doing, and even how the media can also leverage on these other people to support what they are doing. So I think when we take out the knowledge gap, when we try and bridge it, where all the different actors are able to know their actual role and the full scope of things they have to do, I think it will be easy.
Well, okay. Before any of you chip in, I want to ask. So, two things. First one, you mentioned these three areas. Must all media houses, firms, entities, institutions, organizations have all these three various roles to be played simultaneously, or one can focus on one area and just work on that?
Yeah, the bottom line is to do all you have to do. It doesn't have to be just one department or just one person doing everything. As long as you are able to do what it entails, there isn't a problem.
Okay, now let's pack the heat now. And I know everybody here would have a different opinion, but I want to just ask across house that what is everyone's perception about Ghanaian media? And I just wish we wouldn't copy each other's opinion. And I just want us to be very true to self and share what is, because we have created a certain impression for ourselves. But I stand to be corrected. They say, correct me if I'm wrong. I beg your pardon. That's a correct English. Correct me if I'm wrong. On mine, I'll share later. But I want across house, what is the general perception of Ghanaian media, from those who cover politics to entertainment to bloggers to influencers, all of us. Cyril.
I think the knowledge gap that Atum mentioned is much slimmer.
Okay.
When it becomes the kind of media that is focused on governmental, finance, and corporate reportage. The more you come down to the more entertaining, trivial, and passive spheres of society, you end up with that knowledge gap becoming huger. So you have platforms and personnel who are reporting on stuff like the entertainment world, but don't know the full scope of what PR can do. Somebody who is going to report on our next year's elections would not be of that caliber. There would be no information gap. There would be no knowledge gap. They would be well versed in governance, in politics, in a little sociology, and even know how to articulate things that were either sensitive or might be perceived as offensive or whatever. But the more you come down to the entertainment sphere and all that, because entertainment is our grow in our society, anybody can take a laptop and become a blogger. And when we do that with entertainment, nobody has a fight.
But you need to be more knowledgeable when you want to play in the space of politics.
I can't take my laptop right now and say I become a political blogger. Who am I? What do I know? Or I'm a political journalist. There we put gateways in place to make sure that the people who are speaking on politics, governance, finance, and all that have elevated themselves to a point where, we can mention some names. If Bernard Avle is talking about politics, nobody in Ghana has a doubt. We keep quiet and we listen. He's talking about economics. We do this and we listen. But the moment some blogger says something about a celebrity or whatever, everybody is free for all. You can either hate him, insult him, chat him, or correct them. So the more you come down the hierarchy, we have subconsciously given an air of importance or superiority to things that have to do with economics, finance, politics, governance, and all that. And that importance has been ranked even within the media space. So the kind of people you have within those departments of the media are definitely more knowledgeable, more refined, usually more educated.
So speaking bluntly, what is the perception for media entertainment?
For media entertainment, we need to uplift, we need to elevate a lot more. The fact that let's be honest, a lot of our media entertainment is echoed reportage. One platform says Lenny stands in new hairstyle. The next platform says, check out Lenny's new hairstyle. Did you know Lenny was a school prefect in school? Check out her hairstyle. It's like, that's it. That's what we see in our, that's what we see in our media space, right? But you don't see that in the political space. The political space, your validation, your value is on how much you can give an organic review of your experience. So, journalist A is looking at the presidential elections. The angle is what makes him a journalist B has to come from another angle. But in the media, it's just about the sensationalism of it. Let me also make noise. Everybody's ringing a bell. So I also take my bell, ging, 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 and then that's it.
So sometimes, sometimes ask myself, one story comes out and then you see various blogs carrying the same thing. Maybe it's one person that is managing all the blogs.
And that's why we have fake news, because in the entertainment space or in the leisure space of the news, let me not use entertainment. So in the news segments that have to do with leisure and sports, it's usually about coming to air first than about being right.
Being right, yeah.
Right? But if you do that, if you employ that mentality in the political landscape, you cause a civil war. Because if you rush and go and announce the wrong thing, and some people pick cutlass as on side. But with the media, so if you be wrong, we will apologize. Charlie, print them.
All right, make I bring up to Gen Z. So basically what you're saying is that media space with regards to entertainment and how we manage it. I don't have a word for it.
It's easier. It's softer.
What is your opinion?
Because it's easier, the gate is bigger.
This is what Cyril has shared. What is?
I like what Cyril said.
Yes.
Because it's easier, the gate is
You don't
bigger.
disagree in any way?
I like that. No, what he just said about it being easier and the gate being bigger in relation to also everybody just upping and thinking that they can come into it, right? Now, Cyril made reference to the fact that if you are into politics or finance or economics or something, you must have had some very strong education in relation to that. You don't just up and do it. But let's come to entertainment. There are so many people in the industry who didn't even get any formal education, right? They just learn on the job, which is okay. But if you're looking at the other side of the spectrum where they get that formal education, that's why I said I agree with him when he says because it's easier, the gate is bigger. Unfortunately, we don't have to thrive on that a lot, especially also in our industry. It thrives so much on negativity, where they say that the negative things sell. So, for example, someone goes to sit in an interview and says something, right, that I'll use what Cyril said this morning as an example, that I love oranges, right? And then instead of them saying, oh, Cyril says he loves oranges, they are going to twist it and say Cyril dislikes apples so much it makes him puke in the morning, when that's not exactly what he said, right? We thrive on the fickle. We thrive on not reporting the things how it's supposed to be reported. But then again, let's look at it. Who made people like the negative things or want to thrive on the negative things? Why do we even think that negativity sells? Where did it start? When did it start? How should it, why should it be that way? You get what I'm saying? Like, why should we even be at that point where we feel like whatever we are supposed to be reporting, we are supposed to look at the negative part, else people are not going to watch, or supposed to be clickbait, or people are not going to really read whatever we are writing? Why does it have to be that way? Who started it?
It's psychological.
Yeah.
It's bad.
We are intrigued by secrecy. And in a society like a Ghanaian society, the negative is usually a secret. 9 out of 10, when you see people gathered somewhere and they're, if you go and pry and ask what they're asking, it's negative. Either about somebody who is not there or something that they don't want to be the ones shouting about it, but they love to propagate it. So when you have the amplification of social media, you have the amplification of the WhatsApp and all these things where people can be anonymous, right? And find an alter ego to express themselves, then it's been amplified.
But this is not just a Ghana thing, or
Yeah.
So wait, hold on.
I'm not talking about that's why I'm mentioning world platforms. It's not a Ghana thing.
because I'll use TMZ as an example.
I was just about to debate you people on that.
Yeah. Let me
On
tell
what?
you.
Let me ask.
You see, the news, there's news and there's news.
Okay.
Right? You have news. You have, I mean, within the news, right? You have your, how do I say it? You have your news shows, right? Which is what we are, right? Which is curated content around factual happenings. That's a news show.
You have your angles as well from that.
Right. You have your anchor-led shows where you have Christina Mampo on the front line and she decides what to say. They give her the context. Iraqi war, land there, go with it. They trust Christina Mampo's judgment, her intellect, and her training, that what she's experiencing will be able to be conveyed adequately to represent what the station represents. Then you have your tabloids, right, which are your bell ringers. Gang, this person slept with that person. This person slept with that person. So TMZ, the Jerry Springer show, those are all tabloid-styled content. They are created purposely to intrigue that bizarre or that negative whatever to interest us. There's pages on social media that just focus on fights, that just focus on kids falling down, that just focus on fails. If you go on YouTube, some of the most watched videos are fails compilation. Why? Why do people want to see that? Because we are naturally gravitated towards seeing those negative things that we don't see day to day. So if somebody can collate all that and create a repository where you can go and experience who everybody in Yawa, people will gravitate towards it. How much good news does TMZ put out? Right? TMZ puts out negative news because it trends, because they know that no matter whether you are blue, red, green, left or right, negativity sells.
But people are getting tired of that.
Are we?
Well,
Yeah.
Are you sure? When people are dying and people pull out their phone before they do CPR?
No,
Okay,
you
let me
see-
hear from Atoso.
there is, so the reason why these negative stories thrive is because of two things. One, the media represents the public's interest, and as Cyril said, we as human beings have that psychological need to find out about things that are a bit secretive. And unfortunately, negative news is secretive. So if I'm the media and I represent the public's interest and this is what they want, I give it to them. And you know, for a story to be newsworthy, it's supposed to be new, exciting, and interesting. So if a negative story is new, exciting, and interesting, and it ticks all the boxes, I mean, if the people are feeling for it, why don't I give it to them? Simple as that.
Lenny.
So what I was saying...
I want to ask you then if you've all agreed to what the point Cyril made, then I want to ask, how do we create a very trustworthy media brand in the entertainment space for us to be able to compete with the political world and the financial world when they are giving figures, news on figures, and the current, is it that on the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of demand or need, right?
yeah.
It's our things are not of any importance.
Well,
but how do we amplify ourselves to get to the point where we become that sought after, newsworthy, trustworthy, media brand?
When you add some professionalism
Yeah.
to it,
But
if you don't add,
are people after that in the media?
No,
space?
you
no,
see,
but you need
I
that.
think it starts with
you need,
acceptance.
you need
Yeah.
that. You need to add that professionalism to it so that people will know that whatever work you are doing, you're not doing it just because. You're doing it because you know what you're doing. You know what you are about. So that when you get to that point where when you report on something, people know that you've gone to do your checks. You have your figures. You have everything. Let me use Kobiche as an example, right? We've seen Kobiche transition with his blogging. Now when Kobiche puts out anything, you know that it is correct. He's not just down and under on the floor, just looking for crumbs of stories to put out.
He
You know that.
reporting entertainment-related stories or human interest story? Because his
No, he's
validation
doing
as
that.
who he is now is
It's
as a
human
result
I think
of
now
the
he has
human interest
moved away.
story.
It's what I'm saying, that we've seen him
entertainment.
transition.
So how do we
but he
get
does
our-
entertainment as well.
without the back? No, because he's getting his
That's why I was
from the
saying.
human interest stories, which is a very smart move that he's done.
Look,
so even if he reports anything in entertainment, you would believe him
You would
because
believe him, yeah.
of what the other thing.
It's what I'm saying.
How does somebody
positioning,
in that
it's
same
strategy?
Yeah, so how does somebody in that same space then, without moving out
You see,
into or branching out?
credibility is universal.
Yes.
Right? Even if the person is a credible football coach and he tells you that, oh, don't add salt to your drink, add a little lemon, you'll take it seriously. Because in your mind, right, that person has no reason to be discredited. Right? At that point where you are receiving the information, you are not thinking, hey, he's a football coach, he doesn't know anything about nutrition. His authority casts over you completely. So for example, using Kobiche, because he's our friend, using Kobiche, he's earning a reputation via the human interest stories to be perceived as a reputable and a trustworthy news source, right? That is what he's doing. Your focus will never be on the fact that his stories are human interest stories. Your focus will be on the fact that he's been truthful, he's been consistent, and he's been informative. These three things are what you carry away.
And his reputation
And
is on the line at this point.
Exactly. So anywhere else he presents himself, that truth, that repute, everything will help be a defining factor in how he is perceived by everybody else. For the entertainment space, it's not really where you start with credibility. That's why it's hard. Hear me out. It's hard to find an entertainment journalist or whatever, or a pundit or investigator who gets it hammer on nail consistently. That's why when you build up to become the likes of remember how we used to the UK DJ that Tim Westwood. You see the validation that Tim Westwood brings or brought to musicians, right? Musicians go through a lot of different exposure points before they make it to Tim Westwood. But when you get to Tim Westwood, that validation comes.
That stamp
When
on.
DJ Abrantier posts your whatever, your validation comes. There could be 20 other local blogs that have posted that song. But it's not necessarily that DJ Abrantier is the biggest. But his validation comes because he has consistently been on point. He has been truthful, he has been consistent, and he has created that brand for himself. In the entertainment space, because we are so many, you'd go through 500 before you find a great one source. But in the political, socioeconomic, finance, whatever, because of the mill they go through, right? There are reporters out there with 2 MBAs, blah, 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 blah. Because of the mill they go through, you are sure that whoever comes out at the end of the day, it's already got those boxes.
And you can't be caught fumbling.
Exactly.
You can't be caught
But
fumbling.
in the media space, you can be caught fumbling, and on your next show, the next day, so yesterday I said Lenny was dead, but unfortunately she's not dead, I was wrong. But moving on to my next story. Right? You can't say that. I can't go and announce that one president has been shot somewhere, and then the next day I just come and brush it aside. I'll lose my job. Do you get it? But in the media space, because there's so many of us again, everything goes. And nobody takes media and entertainment and lifestyle seriously. It's still agro. As much as it's a
Because the
multi-billion-dollar
people don't take
investment,
it
and we are all yes, because if you told a lot of media people, even in our entertainment space, get your books up, get your knowledge up, read, refine, learn, continue, blah blah, they will take it
Thank
offensively.
you. So that's where it starts from. It starts with us until some people in it take it seriously. Other people won't take it seriously.
That
It's just a
was-
few people. Okay.
That was what I was saying. It starts with acceptance, because when you look
Yeah.
at the media, for instance, it originated because of current affairs. When you look at PR, it originated because of political communication. So media entertainment hasn't really been the poster child
hasn't
when
been
it comes
refined
to
enough.
all these places.
Yeah.
So if you accept the stakeholders and the practitioners in there, if you accept that, okay, you are not a poster child, so you have to put in extra work to get to the level where your counterparts are, that's when you start seeing progress. Because
Thank you.
you can come in as unskilled labor, but where the problem comes in is, are you willing to learn?
To
on the
learn.
job?
You see,
are you
that's the
willing
thing.
to
They get
build your
offended.
skills?
They get offended by
because
this.
once you come in, you can come in as anything. You can even come into entertainment as someone from finance. You can come into entertainment as someone from economics. You can come into entertainment from someone from politics or from government, right? But if you are ready to learn, and also imagine someone coming in from politics into strict entertainment, they're going to apply their professionalism from that space and then also add up with entertainment and then make it better. That is the only way that it's going to get better. If we who are in it, I mean, there are people who are in it, not to say everybody doesn't take it seriously. There are people who are in it who take it seriously. There are people in this space, entertainment space, who actually uphold their values, who have actually gotten an education, who have actually gone for training, who have actually learned on the job, who take it seriously. But there are others who don't. That's in reference to what Cyril says, that today they come on and say that, oh, I've made a mistake, that's all, I brush it off. I'm not even going to properly do my research and then come back with my numbers. But then again, let's look at the angles, right? Exactly. There's what the people want. There's the media being in the interest of the public and all of that. But when we start feeding the public consciously with certain things that we think we should feed them with, they also start to digest it. And then it goes down well. Because if you're not feeding them with the things, you're feeding them with negativity, they're going to take that. If you start feeding them with positivity, let's say that there's something negative, right? But you look at it at the positive side. I'll use Ebony's passing as an example, right? Most people kept saying Ebony 5 years on, Ebony 5 years on, Ebony 5 years on. When we did that story here, what I wanted us to look at was her life over the years when she came on, the song that she did, how she won awards, her collaborations, how people loved her.
When you say
all
what I
of
wanted
that.
us to do here, we don't know the capacity. In what capacity? Tell us. Let them know. In what capacity did you want
Okay,
to?
so
Wrap it up for me, because I want us to introduce our guests as well.
Okay, so as head of editorial, right, and then on Thread, that's what I wanted us to look at. Like, let's celebrate her life over the years, and for the fact that looking down 5 years after her passing, we are still able to get goosebumps after like when we mention her name, when you listen to her song, right? So her legacy, all of those things. That's what I wanted us. I didn't want us just to look at Ebony 5 years down the line. So her life, let's celebrate her, because obviously this girl's passing is not going to be something that anybody can forget so easily, right? So we look at the positives rather, even though it's terrible news. It happened 5 years ago, but let's look at something that someone can listen to or watch that will get them smiling and be thankful for the life that she's lived.
Okay, all right. Let me hold you right there for a split second. Now, we also have Edward Smith. Edward Smith is the editorial coordinator from Ghana Web, also joining us via Zoom. Let me get his introduction out of the way first and engage him, and then I can also introduce who's joined us in the studio. Eddie, good morning.
Good morning, Jay. How are you?
Sorry, let me just hear you loud and clear. Eddie, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing too?
Yes, I'm good too. We are happy to have you. Sorry to keep you on the line for that long, but Eddie, I mean, looking at a brand like Ghana Web, it's been in existence for only God knows how long, over 17 years of
22 years.
22 years, over 2 decades.
Yeah,
well,
years.
interesting.
Yes,
well,
please.
Yes, that even makes it better. The positioning of Ghana Web, over the years, I'm very sure has evolved to become a very credible news agency. Has evolved. I don't know if it would be best to ask you this, but what would you say has been has helped Ghana Web be able to become a credible news agency? We're stating an example like how Kobiche, shares human interest stories, gets a lot of validation from there, so people can trust source of information as well as his objectivity. What has it been for Ghana Web as well?
Okay, thank you, Jay. And first of all, good morning to all your guests in the studio. I've listened to a bit of what they said, and I think they made very good points about the media's role in entertainment. But back to Ghana Web. What should I say? 13 years ago when I joined Ghana Web, I joined as a young reporter from a newspaper. I remember in one of those years of trying to put Ghana Web together, I came to then YFM, where you and then Jeremy were supposed to meet me at the Y launch for a discussion on how Ghana Web Entertainment could partner with YFM. And then, so, I mean, it goes way back with you, Jeremy. We sat down at the Y launch, discussed what we could do, what role Ghana Web could play. So 13 years ago, this discussion took place when I joined, and I realized that at that time it was more like quote unquote a dumping site. People would just put anything there, and because I'm a trained journalist from a newspaper background, it is very difficult to watch that happen when you have the professional background. So we came in with a decision. Okay, let's change this open source where anybody just dumps any content there without verification into building a credible media platform where people will be comfortable reading the information, and I must, as much as possible, try and get things right. So that is how it has been. It has been because there are a group of people, professionals for that matter, who sat down, saw the direction of the medium at the time, understood what could be done, the potential of it, what it needed to move from where it was to where it is now, and still probably grow better than what it is now. So that's been the discussion. Has been a lot of people working from behind the scenes, day and night, working very odd shifts, trying to get things right, making mistakes, learning from it, and correcting. Time went on, and then also talking to people who are already in the media, who know better than we do on how we can change what we do or make it better. It's been a learning process all through. And trust me, Jay, we still learn. Every single day we are learning something new.
I like the fact that you're saying that every day we learn something new. That just might vindicate the media, from sometimes the attacks that consumers of our information would come back and clap back hard at us for certain errors we made. But on the back of that, I'm asking you this question that in recent times, people, especially consumers of our information and of our platforms and our blogs and tabloids, have sort of turned, and even we've seen some media personalities turn their anger on media houses and some of whether they are, I don't know whether to say, there are errors in the way we do our things. So sometimes, people see the media as you guys are one-sided. We've seen all these things sometimes come from certain even celebrities, influencers, as well as, regular people. What do you make of this perception that people carry about Ghanaian media lately?
Well, I think sometimes it's justified. Sometimes it's not justified. The times when it's justified, that's when we have to sit down and then submit ourselves to scrutiny and learn. You see, one thing about what we do or the space we are in is that we are a group of people from different backgrounds with different understanding and different appreciation of what is and what is not what. So it's not possible that all of us will think in the same direction or behave in the same way. Now, as much as some would want to do things right and get things right, and they're perfectionists and trying to do things and make sure that they get their, everybody has the time to invest in that aspect of what they do. So yes, sometimes in the process of getting our job done, we make mistakes. But we should eat a humble pie and no one will make a mistake. And if we have to be criticized for it, we stand there and take the criticism and move on. But you see, there's this space where even when you criticize them, they feel like they have to do, they don't care, and because there's a microphone in front of him, they become God on themselves, which is wrong, because our job primarily is to serve. And you can't serve if the people you are serving are not receiving what you are giving. You have to be able to meet them halfway, and then you should be exactly what they are doing. Because you see, one of the things, a very important thing in media is that you need to understand the audience, the people you're talking to. And that process is an everyday process, because people keep changing. Their preferences keep changing. Their worldview and appreciation of things also change. The more we grow, the more we educate, the more we are exposed to things, the different we become from who we are the day before. So you have to understand, importantly, the audience you are talking to, what they want, what they don't want, the changes in their behavior, and meet them where they are comfortable, most comfortable are. Now, there are times, you see, sometimes it has to do with capacity. But there are certain things you can do without having to spend money. That is understanding your audience, because you have data, you have research team, you have people who monitor things that you're doing. So they should be able to come to you and tell you that, okay, based on X, Y, and Z, probably we have more female audience when we do X, Y, and Z, or we have more male audience when we do X, Y, and Z. And for that matter, with these groups of people, this is how we deal with it. Now we have probably 20% of people who are millennials, and this is what they want to always look at. How do we meet them halfway? Don't forget that you also have a responsibility not only to entertain, but you have to educate and inform. So there should be a balance between all these three disciplines, how you do it. Now, before I started this conversation, I remember one of your panels talked about people coming from other professions. And historically, there are people who have come from other professions like law, like medicine, accounting, and they've done better than trained journalists. It is the discipline they bring from those professions into the space, journalism. That defines who they are. If you look at the likes of Jake Tapper, even if you look at Bernard Avler, yes, he's a journalist, has been for a long time, but he has a discipline in economics. So, in as much as he's been doing journalism for only God knows how long, but he's also been studying economics and other courses that requires a certain discipline. So when you add that to what you studied in journalism, you become very superior to an average journalist that walks by. Now, most of us are comfortable where we are. And I can't say that about you, Jay Foley, because I see you moving from place to place. So, but most people are very comfortable, and they don't like to learn new things. They don't want to be challenged by new things. And that also, inhibits how you grow and also blinds you in areas you are going wrong. So there should always be that constant search for knowledge for perfection, for new ideas, for new behaviors. And also, you see, in an ever-evolving world where a lot of us, what we do on a daily basis is being influenced by what we see online, you have to know the thin line between what is ethical, what is right, what is wrong, and what is proper.
Okay. Eddie, let me hold you on that point, because that's what we are going to be discussing in the studio, knowing what is ethical, what is wrong, what is right. And I think that really is going to define, us moving forward with regards to the role that we play. I have to hold you on here in the interest of time as well to have engagement with our in-house guests here. But thank you very much. Eddie is one of the people who has really grown in this business, very knowledgeable, and he's got wealth of knowledge in this. It's come a very long way, of course, impacting reporting heavily, both at Ghana Web and, of course, for us as well, who follow Ghana Web religiously. So, Eddie, thank you very much. Let me put you on hold here as well. And let's keep in touch. There's business. As we're talking, it was just running through my mind. I said, no, I have to do a back-end conversation on this. Anyway, also join us live in the studio this morning is Dinah Edu Jamefi. Dinah, you're welcome to the studio. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, Dinah is a communications consultant and founder of Bridge Gap as well. Dinah, it's good to have you join us for this very heated debate we're going to have in the studio, where I'm going to push all of you to the wall a bit to get a bit uncomfortable. But give us a bit of a background of Bridge Gap and what you do there as well.
Okay, so for Bridge Gap, we're basically...
Yeah,
Sorry.
closer.
Okay.
Communication.
So we are basically a communications and PR firm. It's fairly new, so it's mostly about me being like a think tank for businesses that want to expand into the diaspora, into Ghana from the diaspora, basically. I do a bit of in-house training for companies and institutions, especially mostly on my social justice side of my education or who I am, basically. And so it's just a merge of two things: my first degree and my second degree, which my master's was in social justice, and my first degree is in communications. So I merged them both and tried to understand, the background of the environment that you're coming into as a business, how to find your niche, what to do to thrive in that environment, basically.
Okay, so let's bring it to media with regards to entertainment. Over the years, blogs, tabloids, like Cyril mentioned, all these platforms have contributed heavily to where we are today with disseminating information, be it true or false, helping amplify, even cause change, positive change. We've seen what all these non-credible media organizations and individuals have contributed. Generally, to you, what is your perception about so far where we've gotten to where we are currently with media engagement and how we do our job?
I think that it varies.
Be very honest and blunt.
Okay. I think it varies. Some people, I think, when I try to follow Ghanaian media as much as possible, which can be very toxic sometimes for me, so I tend not to. But sometimes it can be misleading information, sensationalism. I think as I came here, I heard Cyril talk about negative news and how we thrive on negativity. And I think sometimes that's how the media in Ghana thinks that we can catch the eye of our consumers, or try to encourage people clicks on your website, or try to bring the crowd in to build up your numbers. But we should also realize that the entertainment or whoever you're reporting about is also a human being. So the privacy needs to come in. What is information that you need to put out? What should you put out? And I think Lenny gave a good point about what to catch the public interest. What do you want to put out to be able to keep the public interested? You have to do your research. You have to do your homework. Be interested in doing your homework as a journalist.
But how do you report? How do you report a person living a lie?
Archie, why would you think someone is living a lie?
Look, I hate to do this. Let's start from let's even start with this is going to be a very hard one. Let's even start with as basic as body enhancements.
Okay.
People
don't tell the truth when they get their bodies done. People don't tell the truth.
How do I report positivity on a story?
There's a fundamental error that in modern
Sorry
science.
to cut you, but please feel free to cut.
We'll cut you a lot, so cut me too.
Cut back.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a fundamental error in what we think news is. News is not the opinion of the reporting source. News is the reportage of the situation as it is presented in reality. The opinion is supposed to be created by the recipient of the news. Do you get what I'm saying? You don't need to tell me that Jay Foley has had hair transplant. If you, the reporter, is sharing that as your headline because you think you that is it, then you are telling the world your opinion and propagating it as news. right? But if you say 3 weeks ago Jay Foley was bald, today he struts a new shining haircut, story below. That's information. The viewer needs to go through your story, that you indeed investigated. You met Jay Foley, and this is what he presented us. He told you he was traveling. You don't know what he traveled to do, but he came back, and 2 weeks later, this is the hair that he's starting. Human hair grows at this rate. So how Jay Foley's hair was able to grow at that rate
And
within this
isn't
time,
that-
then you present your story.
But
Let
isn't
the
that
reader.
what is creating the perception that entertainment journalists and media personalities are always looking out for the negative? Because this is a clear example of what we've been doing for the past only
No,
those houses.
No, that's
if-
not
if-
true.
no,
Sometimes
yeah.
context is important, and I think that's what he's trying to say
Yeah.
in terms of what's the context you're putting it in. 2 weeks ago you were
But he
bald.
said- he
2
said,
weeks
yeah,
ago
I
you
was
were
bald.
bald.
It could
and
be
then
anything.
You traveled and
Good.
came back
So
with
I
hair.
asked you a question.
That's context.
So
See,
I asked you
Jay,
a question: how do you
if you
report,
report-
on something
not
that
It's
is...
not, that's what I'm saying, that the hair scenario I'm giving, right, is neither negative nor positive.
It's
It's just
negative.
news. Listen, a doctor, right, would be intrigued, right? A stylist or a makeup person or a hair person.
Yeah, but you
would be
all know that
confused.
your hair wouldn't grow into. If it did, like
But the opinion will-
I understand.
The
Yeah.
opinion will
I
not
don't
be,
understand.
The
Because-
opinion will not be
because there's-
formed.
yes.
The opinion will not be the opinion of the reporter. It would not be Lenny Lomote's story, and because Lenny Lomote is saying you've got a hair transplant, 65,000 people who read the article are going to go home thinking that. She's going to present the fact that on date X you were bald, on date Y you have hair. Normal human hair takes much longer to grow than that. We're happy for whatever's going on with you, but here's the story.
And here's a clapback. The person, the victim, then captures a
It's not a
screenshot.
victim.
I'm saying, well, the person who's been spoken of captures
Yes.
a screenshot of the blog or the post and comes to write, when I released my song, you didn't say anything about it. Here you are talking about my body. And this is what I'm talking about, that how do we report? Because, when we're talking in the beginning, I wanted to take all of you back to something that does the type of journalism in the media space, not does it, but is it birth as a result of the lifestyle of the people they report about? Or the
See-
things they report about? And there are classic and numerous examples like Cyril mentioned. One, you mentioned this one. I can give you a lot of them.
Oh yeah, but also some of the information that media journalists put out is strictly for clicks, like clickbaiting everybody. Yeah, you have new hair today, but how it's presented can either push the conversation to a positive angle or push it to a negative angle completely. But if you say something like, oh, maybe some research on hair growth or something, but then you include Jay Foley's new hair from 2 weeks ago, he was bald, and then you do some research on maybe hair transplant. Okay, you give people an idea. Maybe someone is bald. He might want to really investigate that hair transplant that you just got. Or we can just take it negatively, where is deducing some whole entirely different angle that creates the avenue for everybody to think that they can chime in on your private life. So it's how you report that makes it different. The research that some journalists do is poor. The sources they go to is poor work done, and you can tell that it's very badly done. No research was done prior to that. They just sat down in their homes and said, yeah, you know what, today I'm a blogger. I'll put out some information. Wrong. You should have done your research. You should have gone to multiple
but let's
sources.
define who is a blogger.
Jay,
how
in
do you
your-
critique a blogger?
in
I
your
don't even see
music
the reason
story-
why anyone should fight a blogger. Do you know what a
Why?
blog
Jay,
is?
Jay,
Yes, I
in your,
know.
in
You
your,
get it? Yes.
In your, I put out music and you didn't promote it, but you are talking about my hair. In the scenario you gave,
Yeah.
there's always a lead story, right? And there's a supporting story. The lead story is not yours, you the subject, to decide. Rihanna is one of the biggest musicians on the planet. But her lead story for the Super Bowl was what? Her pregnancy, right? Her PR, the media, everybody led with the lead story of her pregnancy. I said this
And I'll
the
tell you
other
why.
day. And they led with the...
Controversial,
no,
I'll tell you
no,
why.
that's not
You dare
controversial.
not speak against
No.
a pregnant woman on stage. Let's be
No,
blunt
that's
about
not it.
At
That's
all,
not it. Let me tell you,
vibe with
if-
me on
if
this.
I was a chief
You
editor-
how dare you talk about
not
a
it.
pregnant woman? Look, for me, when
Jay,
I saw it,
pregnant women, people
I
have
had a
showed their
problem.
belly bumps.
I had a
No,
big problem
Jay,
with Rihanna
I
on
don't-
stage
I don't
being
agree.
pregnant.
Do you
Let me
know-
let me
And let me tell you why I had a
land.
problem with it.
Let me land.
Because look, I mean, I know
She
people want to
didn't deliver
dance.
the Rihanna we
Pregnant
wanted.
women always want to show that they are still fit, but I don't think it is. I don't even want you to
Jay.
do that. Would
Jay.
your husband be happy if you went to do that? No, he wouldn't be.
Jay, I
Yeah,
get
but
you.
I think
This is your opinion.
it's it's
Yeah.
a personal.
It's my
decision.
blog.
Your- Yes, on Jay's blog.
Yeah, you
hear.
can say that.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
It's your blog.
But you see what you do on your blog. You'd put a disclaimer at the foot of your blog that these articles are by
My
the opinion
opinions.
of la 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 la. And that's basically saying what I've written could be baller.
Yeah.
And
That's
don't come for
and
me.
don't
Yeah.
come for me.
But that's why
Jay,
it's
let
a
me-
blog.
You see,
the
yes.
culture of
so,
a blog
So when you have a
allows-
blog,
there are more blogs in entertainment space
yes,
than in,
and people don't
you know,
need to
But
take.
can we get out of the blog
Blog space.
situation and think about media
Yeah.
outlets as well, putting out information that is wrong?
So-
and it's private business, and you're putting out as a journalist, you should know that what can you touch on and what can't you. Let's give a good example. Rest his soul. Christian Achu just died, and we can see how the media also did this whole paparazzi style photography in your face vibe, which was wrong, which shouldn't have been done. Where is your sensitivity? And I might not know a lot about journalism school, but I'm sure in journalism school they teach about how to behave in certain situations,
Yeah.
how to report, how to reach out to the family, allow. And when people say, celebrities always say this, some celebrities are, please give us the chance for privacy, to get through the situation. Oh no, that's when media journalists are feeling like, you know what, let me go and dig some more and tell the story. No, give people a chance to have the feels they want to have. They are human beings at the end of the day. So give them a chance to process before you decide that you want to put stuff out. Look at multiple sources. What are people saying? What is this person saying? Oh, source 1 said this, source 2 said this, source 3 said this. What can I deduce or come out with and be positive about it? Instead of just putting out negative issues or sensationalizing the whole issue, putting some clickbait title, hey, click on it, Lenny did this today, or something funny, and then when they click, it's like, okay, that makes no sense.
I would move away from Christian's story because it's very sensitive.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, what defines the showbiz world, the show business? It's living the lie. Countless times we've seen. Let me even go to the US. You've seen American rappers rolling in Rolls Royce in their. Go and see their real lifestyle.
That's PR.
It's not. So if I'm to report, already I'm about to report a lie in its first place. I'm about to report a lie.
Yeah, but you wouldn't see a serious news agency reporting
that's
about
what I'm saying,
that.
that the culture of the media space, in the entertainment media space, the culture that is here, is it as a result of the lifestyles of the people? Because we are professional journalists are trying to fight it. However, they are losing the battle because there are a lot of people who have the power and the platform to share their opinions. Is it the culture of the space that is not allowing us to be professional?
I think what you're talking about is just one aspect of the entire celebrity and entertainment landscape. The flashy lifestyle, the hogwash that they put up for people to see and all that is just a small aspect of it. And also, it feeds back into the public interest bit. This is what people want to see. People want to see that lifestyle of opulence, that lifestyle of flashiness and all that. So, okay, I'm a media house, let me give it to them. But then again, you have to draw that line. When it comes to reporting objectively and subjectively, the lines get blurred a bit. And as she was saying, like when you go to journalism school, they teach you the ethics of practicing. They teach you media law as well. In Ghana alone, we have like 4 different acts. There's the Data Protection Act, there's the Electronic Communication Act, there's the Criminal Offences Act, there's the NIA Act as well. And even in the Constitution, there's a whole article and a clause that enshrines the right to privacy and also enforces it. If you go to the US, there's the 4th Amendment. If you go to Europe, there's the GDPR. So these are all things that have been put in place to try and get people to stay in line. And it's just unfortunate that over here, it's very difficult to enforce it. And even people don't know about it. I'll give you an example. So for me, I was practicing PR informally. I was doing PR for artists and all that. And then I realized there is also a very professional aspect to it. And I looked on the internet. I tried to go on all the informal channels I would to get information, and I couldn't get it. My last resort was to go back to school. When I went back to school, the very first course I did in my first semester was media law. I also did a bit of psychology as well. And in that experience, it taught me how to even be timely with my reportage, how to read body language, how to deduce certain things, how to be take initiative and so on, and also know about the laws, that if you cross this line, you could end up in jail. And we've seen experiences of that. Media houses that have platformed certain presenters who have made certain utterances against people, and they have been prosecuted for it. So when you are reporting on certain things, you have to notice that thin line that exists between the objectivity and the subjectivity. You were talking about a blog. With blogs, it's just people's personal sentiments. It's like keeping a diary online. And so I can come there and come and say my mind and go away. But that's not what is supposed to be taken as factual, or what is supposed to be consumed wholly. When we look at the official media houses, the actual media houses who are doing all the facets of media reportage, they are the ones we have to hold accountable. And also, I was speaking about this earlier, it goes deeper, even higher. The reason why I'm saying this is because if maybe unskilled labor comes in, and this is someone who has been assigned to cover entertainment and all that, the company also takes responsibility in training the employee, giving them access to certain resources that they can be able to up their skill level. And we see that in a lot of institutions. It's just unfortunate that, as Cyril was saying, entertainment is regarded as agro, so no one really takes it serious. And I want to unfortunately talk about this again, but with the Christian Achu issue, for instance, there were a lot of journalists who were giving us false reports and all that. And with what Cyril said, nothing has happened to them. But if it were to be an issue of current affairs or an issue of politics or economics, it would have attracted very grave
consequences.
But Sky News reported that they had found him and then they came back to apologize.
Yes,
so
they did the whole apology.
They did an apology, but the
and blamed who was
Ghanaian journalists never apologized.
He just posted a new story.
There was a journalist who even started blocking people because they called him out for it. And so it makes you realize the kind of knowledge gap that is in here.
Yeah.
A foreign news agency had to apologize, but the Ghanaian journalists didn't even know that he owed it to the public to give them an apology.
So they're
and
not
also
following the ethics at all. They are not thinking about what it is to be a journalist. And are they like? I think before I got here, I heard like on the radio when you guys were speaking about how some learn on the job. While they are learning on the job, what are we teaching them? Like, what do you know the ethics of being a journalist? Do you know what is expected of you? As opposed to the person that went to journalism school. They know, at least, I hope that they are using what they've learned as opposed to someone learning on the job. So what are the journalists actually doing? What are media outlets actually doing to support the journalists to make sure that they are doing the best work possible as opposed to just putting out information?
Okay, our time is up. I really wish I wish I'd had you in here earlier on. We'll deal with you. Media, you see, ethics should have come early. This is on the side though. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate to global performance? How would you rate Ghanaian media performance? Let's start with real quickly.
In
over
the
10.
trenches.
Let's start with entertainment.
In the trenches.
In the trenches.
You don't even have a score. -0.
Oh no, I think that there are some people doing really good work at the end of the day. But then I think that
generally, with
generally,
the effort of all the ones doing the good work to the ones who are not doing the good work.
No, honestly, maybe like a 2.
Out
we
of
really
10.
need to put in more effort.
Okay, all right, interesting. And what about sports, real quickly?
Oh no, like,
You're not the sports here.
I guess
Politics.
6. Oh, maybe a good 5.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that they've done a worse job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you ask
it
me,
depends.
I think they've done a worse job. They could have done better. Real quick, Ato, what about you?
entertainment 3.5,
Wow.
sports 2,
Okay.
politics 4.
Oh, wow. Okay, real quickly.
Entertainment too. What's it called? What do you say? Politics.
Yeah.
Sports. Maybe 3. Politics 3.
Wow. Lenny, this is interesting.
My reaction is wow as well. It's just wow.
And it's
to
not just
everything.
Ghana, by the way. Nigeria's
it's
chat
everything.
Boswick. So
Okay, yeah.
the two is very necessary.
Wow.
Well,
That's universal.
I think regardless of all our scores and opinions, it gets better, right, with time. I mean, we weren't even at this point a few years ago,
But
right?
do we have
it will-
time though? You said with time. Do we
Lenny's
have
being
time?
political.
it will
Lenny, give
get
a
better.
score.
It will
Give
get
a score.
better.
Entertainment
No, it will
score.
get better. I don't exactly have a
Lenny,
score over the top of my
entertainment
head.
score.
I don't exactly have a score, but I'm just hopeful that things will get better. I mean, once we keep talking and we keep.
So you don't have a score?
Putting in. No, I don't exactly.
We
have
need
a
a
score. That's
score.
why I said.
Well, I think with the impact, be it positive or negative, that's entertainment media, regardless, I think they've scored a record 6-7 for me with impact. I look at it with impact. Whichever way they went through to achieve what they achieved is what's the end justifies the means.
All right.
It was done. For politics, I think they could have done way better. Way better. So I'm rather appalled by some of the performances because they have to be extremely credible. But we don't get that sometimes. That's 4. And then for sports, I give them a 9. It's either a goal, it wasn't a goal, no VR. On that note, thank you very much for being here with us. Coming up next is MCM Africa right here on 3 Music TV and Lockdown with Irene on Plus 89.9 FM. Thank you so much to all of you for being guests on the show this morning. And on that note, Olele, thank you as well for giving us updates on South Africa. We are out.